I sent my parents $550 a week so they could live easy. But on my kid's birthday, they never came. When I called, Dad snapped, "Your family doesn't matter." I hung up, shaking, and cut off every account in my name. 40 minutes later, my mom went insane. "We don't count your family." The words hit me like a physical blow. I hung up the phone, my hand shaking so violently I nearly dropped it. I felt cold, hollow, completely numb. For 3 years, every Friday at 9 a.m., $550 had automatically transferred from my checking account to theirs. I'd watched that money disappear without ever questioning if it was right. My parents, Brenda and Arthur, always had an excuse: roof repairs, car breakdowns, medical bills. Arthur's back pain meant fewer hours at the hardware store. Brenda's salon shifts were cut. They'd raised me, sacrificed for me. I felt I owed them everything. So when they called for help, I gave it. What kind of daughter would I be if I didn't? My husband, Daniel, noticed first. We were at our kitchen table in our small 2-bedroom apartment, sorting bills. He frowned at the bank statement. "Honey, we're barely making rent." Groceries went on the credit card again. He tapped the recurring payment. "Maybe we could ask your parents for a little less, just temporarily?" My stomach twisted. "They need it, Daniel. You know how tight things are." He sighed. "Things are tight for us, too, Emily. We have Mia to think about." I looked toward the living room. Our 4-year-old was building a block tower, tongue poking out in concentration. She deserved everything, but so did my parents. This money was my way of paying them back. "I'll pick up extra shifts," I said, ending the conversation. Daniel didn't push. He knew how deep my obligation ran. My relationship with Brenda and Arthur had always been complicated. Love came with conditions. Good grades meant affection, disappointment, silence. Brenda had a way of making me feel like I owed her for every meal, every drive. Arthur was gentler but distant, always backing Brenda. When I got pregnant with Mia at 23, unmarried and working retail, Brenda's first response was, "How could you do this to us?" Not congratulations, just shame. Arthur stood behind her, arms crossed. They eventually came around. Or so I thought. They were at the hospital for Mia's birth, doting over her. Brenda took 1,000 photos. Everything seemed fine until Daniel and I married 6 months later in a simple courthouse ceremony. Brenda didn't speak to me for a week. We hadn't given them a real wedding. Still, family was family. When their money troubles started 2 years after Mia was born, I didn't hesitate. $550 a week wasn't easy. We cut back on eating out, canceled streaming, bought Mia secondhand clothes. I told myself it was temporary, that they'd get back on their feet. They never did. The money just kept flowing. Mia's 5th birthday was coming up in October. We'd planned a small party at our apartment with a few kindergarten friends. I baked her chocolate cake with pink frosting. Daniel strung up decorations. Mia was bouncing with excitement. Friday morning, I called Brenda to confirm they'd be there. "Of course, honey," she said, voice warm. "We wouldn't miss our grandbaby's birthday for anything." Relief washed over me. "Party starts at 2. I know it's a bit of a drive, but it means so much to Mia." "We'll be there with bells on," she promised. Saturday arrived bright and clear. Mia wore her purple dress and sparkly shoes. Our apartment was festive. I'd stayed up late wrapping presents and preparing snacks. Everything felt perfect. 2 o'clock came. Other kids arrived. We played games, sang songs. Mia kept running to the window, asking when Grandma and Grandpa would show. "Any minute now, sweetie," I told her, checking my phone for the 10th time. No messages. 2:30, 3 o'clock. The other kids ate cake. Mia's face fell every time the door opened and it wasn't them. Mommy, where are they? She asked, her lip trembling. I'm sure they're just running late, I managed, my hands shaking as I dialed Brenda's number. Voicemail. Arthur's? Same thing. By 4 o'clock, the party wound down. Lily sat on the couch, still in her party dress, silent tears rolling down her cheeks. They forgot about me, she whispered. My heart shattered. Daniel wrapped his arms around us, giving me a look that spoke volumes. After we put Mia to bed, I tried calling again. This time, Arthur answered on the third ring. I heard voices, laughter, clinking glasses. Arthur, where were you today? Mia's party was. Oh, that was today? He sounded distracted, unbothered. Brenda and I went to visit Michael in Denver. He's been begging us to come out. My brother Michael, the golden child with his 6-figure job and a house with a pool. Michael, who never sent them money because he was already successful enough to make them proud. You knew about the party, Arthur. I called yesterday to confirm. Well, we can't just drop everything for every little thing, Emily. We have other grandchildren, too. A cold dread settled in my chest. Every little thing. It was Mia's 5th birthday. We'll make it up to her. We're actually having a wonderful time out here. Michael took us to this incredible restaurant last night. Steaks were phenomenal. His kids are in so many activities. We're watching Noah's game tomorrow. Each word was a slap. They'd chosen Michael's kids over mine. They'd taken a trip to Denver, which certainly wasn't cheap, while I sent them $550 every single week so they could survive. How did you afford the trip? The question slipped out. What do you mean? We saved up. His tone shifted, defensive. Saved up from the money I send you every week so you can pay your bills? Silence. Then Arthur's voice came back, harder than I'd ever heard it. That money is ours, Emily. What we do with it is our business. You offered to help us, remember? We didn't force you. I offered because you said you were struggling. Because you said you couldn't make ends meet. We are struggling. Do you know how expensive everything is? Yes, Arthur, I do know. Because I'm struggling, too. But I still send you money every week because you're my parents and I thought you needed it. Maybe if you managed your finances better, don't. My voice cracked. Don't you dare. I work 50-hour weeks. Daniel works 2 jobs. We buy store-brand everything. We haven't taken a vacation in 3 years. And meanwhile, you're eating expensive steaks in Denver and couldn't even bother to show up for your granddaughter's birthday. You're being dramatic, Emily. We'll see Mia another time. Daniel appeared in the doorway, watching me with concern. I saw Mia's bedroom door ajar. You broke her heart today, I whispered. She waited by that window for 2 hours. Arthur scoffed. Kids are resilient. She'll forget about it by next week. I won't. What's that supposed to mean? My hand clenched the phone. Why did you really blow off the party, Arthur? Tell me the truth. He exhaled, a long-suffering sound. You want the truth? Fine. Michael's family is just easier. His kids are well-behaved. His house is nice. His wife is pleasant. We don't have to pretend everything's okay when we're with them because everything actually is okay. Pretend? My voice rose. What are you pretending with us? Come on, Emily. You know what I mean. You and Daniel struggle. You live in that tiny apartment. You're always stressed about money. It's depressing. When we visit Michael, we can actually relax and enjoy ourselves. Each word was a knife. We struggle because we send you $550 every single week. Nobody forced you to do that. You asked me to. You called crying about how you couldn't afford your mortgage, how you didn't know what you were going to do. And you offered to help. That was your choice. The background noise on his end grew louder. I heard Brenda's high, bright laugh. Arthur, who else is there? Just some of Michael's friends. He's hosting a dinner party. We should go, Emily. We'll talk later. A dinner party? While my daughter cried herself to sleep because her grandparents didn't care enough to show up? That's not fair, Emily. We do care. We just. Michael's our son, too. We have to split our time. Split your time? You haven't visited us in 8 months. You've been to Denver 3 times this year. Arthur's patience snapped. You want to know why? Because Michael doesn't make us feel guilty every time we spend $1. He doesn't act like we owe him something. He's successful and independent, and when we visit, we feel proud instead of pitted. The words hung in the air. Someone called for him to return to the table. We don't count your family the same way, Emily. Michael's family is different, better established. You have to understand that. We don't count your family. The words echoed in my head. My daughter, my husband, me. We didn't count. Emily, are you still there? I hung up. My hands shook. Daniel pulled me into his arms. I realized I was crying, ugly, gasping sobs against his shoulder. What did he say? He asked quietly. I told him everything. By the end, his jaw was tight. After everything you've done for them, he said. After everything you've sacrificed. I pulled back and wiped my face. Something had broken inside me during that phone call, but something else had crystallized. A clarity I'd been avoiding for 3 years. I need my laptop. Daniel fetched it without question. I sat at the kitchen table, the same place where we'd had so many conversations about money. My hands still trembled as I opened the browser. First, I logged into my bank account and canceled the automatic transfer. 3 years of $550 weekly payments. I did the math. Over $85,000. Money that could have gone toward a bigger apartment, Mia's college fund, a reliable car, a vacation. Instead, it had funded trips to Denver and expensive steaks while we scraped by. Then I went further. The car they drove, registered in my name because their credit was too poor. I'd made the monthly payments. I logged into the loan company's website. The cell phones they used on my family plan. I navigated to the carrier's website. The credit card I'd given them for emergencies. I pulled up that account, too. One by one, I went through every connection, every financial thread. Daniel sat beside me, silent, his hand on my shoulder. Are you sure? He asked when I paused, my finger hovering over the final confirmation. I thought about Mia's face at the window. I thought about Arthur's words, we don't count your family. I thought about 3 years of sacrifices, stress, and guilt. I'm sure. Click. The transfer was cancelled. Click. A request to remove authorized users from the car loan and prepare for vehicle return. Click. 2 phone lines disconnected. Click. Credit card cancelled. I did it all in 15 minutes. 40 minutes after I'd hung up on Arthur, my phone rang. Brenda's name flashed on the screen. I answered but didn't speak first. What did you do? Brenda's voice screamed so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. Emily Marie, last name, what the hell did you do? I removed you from my accounts. You can't do that. That's our money. That's our car. It's my car, Brenda. My name is on the title. My credit got the loan. And the money was mine, too. Money I sent you every week while my own family struggled. You ungrateful little ungrateful? My voice came out eerily calm. Tell me what I should be grateful for. We raised you. We fed you, clothed you, put a roof over your head. That's called being a parent. That's the bare minimum you're supposed to do when you decide to have a child. How dare you? After everything we've done, everything we've sacrificed, what did you sacrifice today, Brenda? What did you sacrifice when you chose to go to Denver instead of showing up for your granddaughter's birthday? A pause, then quieter, but no less venomous. Michael is our son, and I'm your daughter, and Mia is your granddaughter, but apparently we don't count the same way. That's not what your father meant, he meant exactly what he said. You both did. Daniel squeezed my shoulder. For 3 years, I sent you money. I worked myself to exhaustion. I watched my husband work 2 jobs. We went without so you could have, and you used that money to visit Michael, to live comfortably while we struggled. And then you couldn't even bother to show up for a child's birthday party. We were going to send her a present. She doesn't want a present, Brenda. She wanted her grandparents. She wanted to show you her new dress and her birthday cake and share her special day with you. But you were too busy eating expensive food with your real family. Don't twist his words. I'm not twisting anything. You made your choice. You've been making it for years. I was just too guilty and too afraid to see it. I took a breath. So now I'm making my choice. No more money, no more car. Payments, no more phone bills. You're on your own. You can't do this to us. You did it to yourselves. You want to know something? I would have kept sending money. Even after today, even after missing the party, I probably would have made excuses for you and kept the transfers going because I felt like I owed you. But then Arthur said, we don't count. And I realized he was right. We don't count to you. So why should you count to me? Emily, please. Brenda's voice cracked. I heard real panic. We need that money. The mortgage. Get jobs, Brenda. Full-time jobs. Sell the house and downsize. Do what the rest of us do. We're too old. You're 56. Arthur's 58. You're not too old to work. You're just too comfortable living off your daughter while treating her like she's less than her brother. That's not true. We love you both the same. If you loved us the same, you would have been at that party. If you loved us the same, you wouldn't have spent money I sent for your mortgage on trips to see Michael. If you loved us the same, Arthur wouldn't have said what he said. Silence. Then what do you want from us, Emily? An apology. I don't want anything from you anymore. That's the point. You're being cruel. I'm being done. Fine. Brenda's voice rose, hysteria creeping in. Fine. Be selfish. Abandon your parents when we need you most. But don't come crying to us when you need help because we'll remember this. We'll remember how you threw us away over one missed party. One missed party? 3 years of lying, and a lifetime of making me feel like I'm never quite good enough unless I'm giving you something. Yeah, Brenda, I think that about covers it. Your father and I won't forget this, Emily. You're making a huge mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. I hung up. The phone immediately rang again. I silenced it and set it face down. Daniel wrapped his arms around me. You okay? I didn't know. Tears streamed down my face, but I felt lighter, somehow. Devastated but free. Did I just ruin everything? You just saved us, Daniel said quietly. You saved our family. Our family? The words resonated. Mia, Daniel, and me. That was my family. That's who counted. The phone kept lighting up. I ignored it. Eventually, Daniel blocked their numbers. Just for tonight, he said. So you can breathe. I couldn't sleep. I replayed every conversation, wondering if I'd been too harsh. But then I remembered Mia's face, the hope every time the door opened, the tears when she realized they weren't coming, the quiet way she'd asked, "Did I do something wrong, Mommy?" No, I hadn't overreacted. If anything, I should have done this years ago. The next morning, Sunday, Daniel was already at the kitchen table with his laptop and coffee. "Come look at this," he said. I shuffled over. He pulled up our bank account and a spreadsheet. "This is what we've been spending on them monthly." A figure that made my stomach drop. "And this is what we'll have now." The difference was staggering. We could afford a bigger apartment, build Mia's college fund. We could breathe. "We could take Mia to Disney World," Daniel said softly. "She's been asking for months." Disney World? A real vacation? The thought felt impossible and wonderful. Mia appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. "Is it breakfast time?" I scooped her up. "How about we make pancakes? The special ones with chocolate chips." Her face lit up. "Really? Really?" As we cooked, Mia chattering about her party, I felt guilt trying to creep back in, but I pushed it away. I'd spent too many years feeling guilty for not being enough. My phone buzzed. Daniel had unblocked them. A text from Arthur, "You need to call your mother. She's very upset." I deleted it without responding. Another, "We can talk about this like adults." Delete. Another, "You're being unreasonable. Family helps family." That one made me laugh, a bitter sound. I showed it to Daniel. "Family helps family," he read aloud. Where was that energy yesterday when their granddaughter needed them? I typed a response and read it to Daniel before sending. "You're right. Family does help family. I'm choosing to help mine now. Best of luck with everything." I hit send, then blocked their numbers permanently. The next few weeks were strange. I expected to feel worse, to regret it. Instead, I felt lighter. The automatic transfer didn't go through, and for the first time in 3 years, we had breathing room. We took Mia to the zoo, bought new school clothes without checking price tags. Daniel cut down to one job. He smiled more, stressed less. My brother Michael called after 2 weeks. "What the hell did you do?" He skipped pleasantries. "Brenda and Arthur are losing their minds. They told you their version, I'm guessing." Said I cut them off completely over nothing. I laughed. "Did they mention missing Mia's birthday to visit you?" Silence. "They said the dates got mixed up." They lied. I confirmed the day before. "They chose to skip it because spending time with your family is more enjoyable than spending time with mine." Emily, come on, that's not. "Did they tell you they've been using the $550 I send them every week to fund their trips to Denver? That Arthur said they don't count my family the same as yours?" More silence, longer this time. "I didn't know they were getting money from you," Michael finally said. "They never mentioned it." Of course they didn't. Why would they? You already make them proud. I'm just the daughter who's useful for cash. That's not fair. You're right. None of this is fair. But it's done now. They're your problem if they need help. I'm out. Michael tried to argue, to mediate. I hung up and blocked him, too. Daniel's parents, Susan and Thomas, who live 3 hours away, called that weekend. "We heard what happened," Susan said gently. "We just wanted to check on you." I braced for judgment, for a lecture. Instead, she said, "Good for you, sweetheart. You don't think I'm being awful? I think you're being brave. Daniel told us how much you've been sending them. How much you've been struggling. Parents are supposed to help their children, not drain them dry. You did the right thing." Those words healed something in me I didn't know was broken. Months passed. My parents tried reaching out through email, social media, mutual friends. The messages followed the same pattern: anger, guilt-tripping, brief apologies that blamed me, then more anger. I didn't respond. 3 months after Mia's birthday, I got a certified letter. My hands shook. It was from a lawyer, demanding compensation for the car, claiming I'd gifted it. I laughed until I cried. I forwarded it to my own lawyer, Eleanor. She called an hour later. "They don't have a case. The car is in your name, you made all the thought. Let him see what it was like." "I'm calling because I need you to take them for a while," Michael said. "Just a few months until they figure something else out." I actually laughed. "Absolutely not. Emily, please. I have a daughter who asked me for months why her grandparents didn't love her. I have a husband who trusted me when I said we needed to help my parents, who worked 2 jobs so we could afford it. I have a life that's finally stable and peaceful. I'm not inviting chaos back into it. They're your parents. They stopped being my parents when they told me my family didn't count. You want to get rid of them? Help them find an apartment, help them get jobs, but don't call me asking for favors when they've shown up at my door uninvited, called my husband's work, tried to pick up my daughter from school without permission, and sued me for a car that was never theirs." "They what?" Michael sounded genuinely shocked. "Oh, they didn't mention that?" "Yeah, lawyer, lawsuit, the whole thing." Eleanor shut it down pretty quickly, but the intent was there. I didn't know any of that. There's a lot you don't know because you've never had to deal with a version of them that I got. You got the proud parents who showed up for soccer games. I got the disappointed parents who made me feel like I owed them for existing." Michael was quiet for a long moment. "I'm sorry," he finally said. "I didn't realize." "Now you do. So handle it however you need to handle it, but leave me out of it." I hung up, drained but resolute. Whatever happened with Brenda and Arthur was no longer my concern. The emails continued sporadically, always the same themes: anger, guilt-tripping, begging, threats. I deleted every single one. The emotional toll of maintaining boundaries was something I hadn't anticipated. Some days were easy, I'd go weeks without thinking about them. Other days, guilt crashed over me. I'd see an older couple and wonder if my parents had enough to eat. Daniel noticed. On bad days, he'd find me staring into space. "You're not a terrible person," he'd say. "You're someone who finally chose herself." I started seeing a therapist, Dr. Hayes, who specialized in family dynamics. Though I bristled at the word trauma initially, my childhood wasn't that bad, I insisted. Sure, love was conditional and I constantly felt like I had to earn my place. But lots of people had it worse. "Trauma isn't a competition," Dr. Hayes said gently. And emotional manipulation, even when it comes from a place the manipulator thinks is love, still causes damage. Over months, we unpacked decades of patterns. How I'd learned my worth was tied to my usefulness. How I'd internalized the message that I was the problem child. How the guilt I felt about setting boundaries was actually a trauma response, not an accurate reflection of my moral character. Your parents trained you to feel responsible for their emotions. You learned your job was to anticipate their needs, meet their expectations, and accept blame. That's not a partnership. That's not healthy love. The work was hard. Some sessions left me emotionally wrecked. But slowly, the guilt loosened its grip. I began to understand that protecting my own family wasn't selfish. It was necessary. Mia thrived. Without the constant financial stress, Daniel and I were more present. We had energy for bedtime stories, weekend adventures. We could say yes to small things. She asked about her grandparents exactly once more, about 9 months later. We were driving home when she said, "Sophia's grandma is picking her up for a sleepover this weekend. Why don't my grandparents do sleepovers with me?" I tightened my hands on the steering wheel. Daniel and I had discussed this. Sometimes people show love in different ways, I said carefully. And sometimes people aren't able to show love in ways that feel good to us. Your dad's parents love spending time with you, right? Grandma Susan and Grandpa Thomas? Yeah, they're coming next month and Grandma said we can make cookies. Exactly. Some people are good at showing love, and some people struggle with it. My parents are the kind who struggle. She seemed satisfied, already moving on to telling me about a picture she painted. But the question haunted me. Had I done the right thing? Was I depriving Mia? Dr. Hayes shut that down quickly. You're not depriving her of anything. You're protecting her from people who showed through their actions that they don't value her the way she deserves to be valued. That's good parenting, Emily. Still, doubt crept in until, about 10 months after Mia's birthday, I checked my email. A message from Brenda made my blood run cold. Subject line, "You'll regret this." The body was long, rambling, switching between pleading and threatening. Then, near the end, she wrote, "Don't be surprised when Mia grows up and treats you the same way you're treating us. What goes around comes around, Emily. Karma is real." Threatening my daughter, even indirectly, even through some vague invocation of karma. Something snapped into place. Any residual guilt evaporated. I forwarded the email to Eleanor. "Document it," she said. "If they escalate, we're filing for a restraining order." I also forwarded it to Michael with a simple message: "This is who you're living with. This is who you're defending. Read it carefully and tell me again how I'm the problem." He didn't respond. That email was the last straw emotionally. I worked with Dr. Hayes on writing a final message to my parents, something that would give me closure whether they read it or not. We crafted it over 2 sessions, making sure every word was mine, that it reflected boundaries rather than anger. I sent it on a Thursday morning, nearly 11 months after Mia's birthday. "Brenda and Arthur, this will be my final communication with you. I'm not angry anymore, but I am done. For 3 years, I sent you money while my own family struggled. I did this because I believed you needed it, because I loved you, because I thought that's what family does. But you used that money for luxuries while telling me I couldn't manage my finances. You chose to visit Michael repeatedly while ignoring us. You missed Mia's birthday without apology or acknowledgement of how much it hurt. When I finally set a boundary, you responded with manipulation, harassment, and threats. You called Daniel's workplace. You tried to pick up Mia from school without authorization. You sued me. You sent me an email threatening that my daughter would someday hurt me the way you believe I've hurt you. I don't hate you, but I don't trust you, and I don't want you in my life. Mia deserves grandparents who show up, who value her, who don't treat her as less important than other grandchildren. Daniel deserves in-laws who respect him. I deserve parents who love me without conditions and without keeping score. I hope you find peace and stability. I hope you build a good life with Michael, but I won't be part of your lives going forward. Don't contact me, my husband, or my daughter again." Emily. I hit send before I could second-guess myself. Then I blocked their email addresses, blocked their social media, and changed our phone numbers. Complete silence. The relief was immediate and profound. Mia adjusted quickly. When she asked about them, I told her a simplified truth: sometimes grown-ups make choices that hurt people they love, and sometimes the best thing to do is take some space from each other. She seemed to accept this. Her life was full of kindergarten playdates, parents who were less stressed and more present. She didn't need grandparents who made her feel like an afterthought. 6 months later, Daniel came home with a brochure for a house. A real house with a yard. "I know it's maybe too soon," he said, "but with what we're saving now, what we've been able to put away." I did the math. We could afford this. I looked at the pictures of the 3-bedroom home with hardwood floors and a backyard perfect for a swing set. A home for our family, our real family. "Let's do it," I said. We moved in 2 months later. Mia had her own room, purple with stars on the ceiling. We had a dining room where we could host Daniel's parents for holidays. We had a backyard where Mia could play. We built a life. A year after Mia's 5th birthday, we threw her 6th birthday party in our new backyard. 20 kids came. Daniel's parents drove up and stayed for the weekend. Mia wore a rainbow dress and laughed so hard she got hiccups. No one asked about Brenda and Arthur. They weren't part of our story anymore. That night, after everyone left and Mia was asleep, I sat on our back porch with Daniel. He handed me a glass of wine. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked quietly. I thought about the question seriously. Did I regret cutting off my parents? Did I regret ending 3 years of financial support and a lifetime of trying to earn love through sacrifice? No, I said. I regret that it took me so long. Daniel squeezed my hand. Inside, through the window, I could see Mia's bedroom door ajar, the star night light casting soft shadows. My family. My real family. The ones who counted. And we were finally, beautifully, free. What would you have done?